What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon, and welcome to our top Pokemon auctions of the week segment. In this episode, we will be covering the freshly graded cards from Celebration set, as well as a bunch of full art trainer cards, a healthy amount of vintage and modern product, as well as 3 cards from this week's PWCC Premier auctions, one of which includes a PSA 10 Shadowless base set Charizard. We're going to cover the amount that card went for, as well as many others. As I always say, please give this video a like, and thank you for having been a subscriber to my channel. I really appreciate your support in watching these auctions of the week videos. Let's start this episode out with a bang, starting with our Celebrations graded cards that came through in auction this week. Let's check them out. Here we have the Classic Collection base set Venusaur reprint in PSA 10 that sold for $610. And then you had a BGS 9.5 version of this card sell for $560. And then a week later, you had another BGS 9.5 Venusaur sell for only $102.50. The only difference between this Venusaur and the other BGS Venusaur is this one doesn't have the subgrades on it. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Anyway, here is a PSA 9 Gold Star Umbreon from the Classic Collection that sold for $255. And then the BGS 9 of this card sold for $127.50. And then we had the PSA 10 version sell for $820. A couple of birthday Pikachus were graded. Here is a CGC 8.5 birthday Pikachu that sold for $102.50. And then we had the PSA 9 birthday Pikachu sell for $255 this week. I only saw one base set Blastoise reprint come through in a PSA 10, and it sold for $960. Here was a lot of 2 of the full art Gold Mew cards, one a BGS 9.5, the other a BGS 9, and both of these cards sold together for $241.50. Before we get to our graded Charizards from the set, I wanted to cover a couple of master sets that were sold. This includes all 50 cards plus promos. One here sold for $853 and another set sold for $867 for all of these cards. We also had the Golden Pokeball, the Gold Pikachu V, and the Gold Metal Pikachu and Charizard cards all sell together in a lot for $380 this week. And here's what you've been waiting for, folks. The Charizard reprint from Celebration set. How much has it gone for in a PSA 10? We have 3 examples to cover. This first one sold as a PSA 10 for $1,625. This one here sold for $1,800. And this one right here sold for $1,336. So quite a range there between $1,300 and $1,800 for this card. There is a couple more coming through in auction that we will cover in next week's Auctions of the Week video, so stay tuned for that. We have a couple of Rayquaza VMAX cards that came through in auction. This one came as a PSA 10 and it sold for $580. And then we had a BGS 10 Rayquaza VMAX that sold for $1,850. So nearly 3 times as much for the BGS 10 Rayquaza VMAX as it is for the PSA 10 version. A couple of full art trainer cards came by. Let's take a look at them. We had the Rosa full art trainer from Cosmic Eclipse that sold as a PSA 10 for $335. The Lycia full art from Celestial Storm sold for $425. And then 2 examples of the Lily full art from Ultra Prism. One sold as a PSA 10 for $696. Another one sold for $770. 2 very notable cards from Evolution set. One was a holographic Machamp that sold as a PSA 10 for nearly $500. And then the holographic Charizard in PSA 10 sold this week. We haven't seen this card in quite a while come through an auction. This week it sold for $1,877. And if you are familiar with my auctions of the week months ago, this card was closer to $5,000. So it's interesting to see what this card is landing at nowadays, which is a little bit over $1,800. Here is a CGC 10 Pristine Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno Stained Glass GX card that sold for $255. And then you had a Black Label Charizard GX from Hidden Fates that sold this week for $7,400. A couple Gold Star cards sold this week as well. This is a Gold Star Mud Kit from EX Team Rocket Returns in PSA 10 that sold for $4,783. And then the Gold Star Groudon from EX Delta Species sold for $4,050. Several E-Series holos came by in auction. Here is a Magcargo from Skyridge that sold as a PSA 10 for $455. The Fortress also sold for $455. This card is also from Skyridge. The Magneton from Skyridge sold for $440. The Hypno Holo from Aquapolis, one of my favorite E-Series cards in terms of artwork, sold for $571. We had an Articuno from Skyridge that sold for $1,225. The Venusaur Holo from Expedition sold for $610 this week. And then lastly, for our E-Series cards, we had a Crystal Nidoking and PSA 10 that sold for $2,150. All right, on to some Neo cards here. We had a first edition holographic Espeon from Neo Discovery that sold for $3,550. And then the Umbreon from Neo Discovery, also first edition, sold for a whopping $8,000 even. Here we have a Shining Tyranitar from Neo Destiny first edition that sold for $7,500. And the Shining Celebi from Neo Destiny sold for $2,247 US. Here is a Shining Mewtwo that sold for $4,619. And then the Shining Charizard first edition sold for $14,300 this week. A couple of miscellaneous WOTC cards to go over. Here is a Lucky Stadium Black Star promo that sold as a PSA 10 for $2,000 even. And then we had a couple of reverse holographics from Legendary Collection. Here is a Nidoran and PSA 10 that sold for $247.50. Then the Executor sold for $260. And then we also had the reverse foil Vulpix sell for $520. Here is an unlimited holographic Skarmory from Neo Genesis that sold as a PSA 10 for $600. And then we had a first edition Misty Holo Trainer from Gym Heroes that sold for $768.78. Couple of big bad Blastoise cards here. Here is a first edition Holo Dark Blastoise from Team Rocket set that sold as a PSA 10 for $2,075. And then we had another one sell for $2,550. And if you're wondering why the disparity between prices there, this one that sold for over $2,500 was a significantly stronger PSA 10 in my opinion. And then we had an unlimited Blastoise Holo from base set that sold as a PSA 10 for $4,100 this week. Alright, last English card before we get into our Japanese card segment. We had a Blaine's Charizard first edition Holo sell for $5,398 US. Alright, on to a couple of beautiful Japanese cards. This week we had a 1995 Japanese Top Sun Blastoise card that sold for $5,714 as a PSA 10. And then we also had a Blastoise Holo CD promo that sold for $415. And the reason I included this card is because, well, this and the Charizard, which sold for $770 this week, both have a tremendous amount of PSA 10s in the pop report, yet that does not stop them from getting several hundreds of dollars for their copies. Here's a Charizard Holo from the Japanese base set that sold in PSA 10 for $7,500 this week. We had a Shining Mew. The more and more I see this card, the more and more I fall in love with it. It's just absolutely stunning. This card sold as a PSA 10 for $3,050. The Japanese Masaki Gengar Holo sold this week for $1,597 US. We had a Pikachu Scream promo sell for $1,701. And then we also had a 20th anniversary Japanese Pikachu holographic card, the Festa card that sold as a PSA 10 for $3,850. On to some sealed product. We have an EX Ruby and Sapphire and Sandstorm Booster Packs tin that sold for $1,325. There's also a Japanese Team Rocket box that sold for $10,200. A first edition Jungle Booster box sold for $11,000 this week. And then we had a base set booster box looking very sharp, looking very minty. It sold for $14,911. All right, folks, here are those three auctions from PWCC I was telling you about. First up is this first edition BGS 9.5 base set Blastoise, sold for an even $15,000 in a PWCC Premier auction. And then here we had an Umbreon Japanese Promo Daisuke Club 7,200 point card that sold for $12,000. And folks, the auction of the week has to go to this Shadowless PSA 10 base set Charizard that sold in a PWCC auction for $105,000. Such a beautiful and iconic card with a very, very new PSA cert number. What do y'all think of that? Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought of the auctions this week. Like I said, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And that's all I got for you, folks. I will see you all in the next one.